We are now going to begin with the first component of the frailty assessment tool. That will be measuring the patient's height and weight. Please ensure that the patient has removed their shoes and any extra heavy clothing that may skew your results. Ensure that your scale has been zeroed and have the patient step onto the scale to get a measurement. We have now generated a reading, and so we can move on to the height component. We are now going to move on to the height measurement component. In this measurement, you will need a stadiometer where you can measure your patient's height. Also, please ensure that the patient removes their shoes once again to get an accurate reading. You will begin by having the patient stand in front, away from the stadiometer with their feet wide apart. With the stadiometer set up, you will have your patient move back towards you, bringing their feet closer together. Keep on coming, keep on coming. And once they've reached 2 inches away from the wall, you'll have them stand as tall as possible. In order to get an accurate reading, please ensure your patient is standing as tall as possible. Also ensure that the patient's eyes are leveled with the top of their ear, and then you may get a reading. The next component of the frailty assessment tool is the exhaustion questionnaire. It is composed of 3 main questions. The first asks if the participant has been feeling unusually tired within the past month, and if so, how often. The second question asks if the participant has been feeling unusually weak during the past month, and if so, how often. And the last question asks the participant to use a 10-point scale to identify their energy level in the past month. The third component of the frailty assessment tool is the physical activity questionnaire. It is composed of 6 main questions. For each question, you will ask the participant if they have performed the particular activity within the past 2 weeks. If they have, you will ask how often and for how long each activity was performed. The fourth component of the frailty assessment tool is the grip strength test. You will need a dynamometer to measure the participant's maximum grip strength. You will also go through a brief series of questions to determine if the test is safe to perform and to identify the participant's dominant hand. We are now going to perform the actual measurement. You will need to have a dynamometer, which is the tool used to perform the grip strength test. To begin, please have your patient move all the way to the edge of their chair and ensure that their feet are completely flat on the ground. We're going to do 3 tests on each hand, so 3 for the right and 3 for the left. You want to ensure that your patient's arm is at a 90-degree angle when they're holding the dynamometer. The patient cannot rest the dynamometer onto their leg or hold it up in the air. It must remain at a 90-degree angle with the patient's body. So we're going to perform the test. And if at any point you feel pain or you feel that you do not want to proceed with the test, please do let me know. Ready, set, squeeze, 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 release. The dynamometer will give you a reading of the patient's strength. Please also let the patient know that when they are squeezing, the bars will not move, but the dynamometer will still produce a reading. The last component of the frailty assessment tool is the walking speed test. For this test, you will need a 4-meter walking course and a stopwatch. To begin, have the participant stand at the starting mark and start timing as the participant walks the course at their usual pace. Timing will conclude once the participant has reached the end mark. Please perform this measurement twice to obtain an average walking speed. You're going to have your patient stand behind the line, and when you say ready, set, go, you're going to use a timer to time your patient walking down the 4 meters at a normal walking pace. At the end of the line, you will have them stop and repeat this measurement once more.